holding up the phone and filming people, huh? Oh, sweet, here I go. Let's see what we got here. They're holding up the phone. Watch out. See. Had to wait because let's take a picture of the outside of the building. That makes sense. There we go. Perfect timing. Just exited the library and you hear that, right? Oh, is that a fire truck? Oh yeah. Yeah. The Stalker fire department there. That was the moment I exited the doors of the library, so see that. See the timing there. And they're pretending to do work as usual. So obviously they had a real important call to go to, right? The moment I stepped through the doors outside. So. And they stopped the siren, you see that? Like they put it on just for like a very short time and then switched it right off as soon as I came. Very well coordinated and all methodically planned as usual. This is fire truck goes by. Right here. I come outside. The guy points. The one dude on the standing up on the stairs there points at his eye as I come outside, and starts like smirking when he does it. And you got this bald guy, this bald steroid junkie guy who comes out of his car and starts yapping for no reason at me. I came outside to pick up a food delivery, and then he comes up and he says, "Are you okay?" Which is something that all these other stalkers involved in the operation are told to say. They'll say, "Are you okay?" Indicating somehow that trying to gaslight, essentially, right? So they'll say, "Are you okay?" The guy did. He points at his eye, and I just laughingly gave like the the one eye, the all-seeing eye symbol back at him. And then this guy, the bald steroid junkie guy, comes across with his fake steroid junkie physique, and starts saying, "Are you okay?" Excuse me. I come outside just to pick up food, and they had that guy set up there immediately across the street. He's one of these frauds he's one of these characters that works for them, right? And as soon as I come outside, he points to his right eye. I didn't get this on camera because I didn't have the camera glasses on here. And then, so just jokingly, I gave him the okay sign with the other right eye. He starts squawking, and then this bald guy, the steroid with his fake physique, starts doing the thing. And again, this is what these people will always say. They'll say, "Are you okay?" So they've been given instructions to say that. I'll show this in some of the other videos of how many of them have said this "Are you okay?" thing. And they're just going to sit there and idle until I go inside. So let's see how long they stay there. So, but that's weird behavior. And they had him do that. They set it up so that he would do that intentionally too, right? To try and antagonize, just to get a reaction. So I gave him like the one eye covered thing back, and his brother or whoever, this guy starts doing the gaslighting thing, saying, "Are you okay?" So they've been given these instructions specifically, and that was timed to the point when I came outside to get some food. So you can tell that that was coordinated, right? So I just want to get them on camera here just to show this guy, and he comes up trying to do like the whole intimidation thing with his fake steroid body and his fake physique there. But again, all I did, I exited here, went to pick up food, and immediately to antagonize, they had the guy right there in the porch there, pointing to his one eye. And now they wait, and the other steroid junkie guy comes over, and now they drive off there. I think you do know why I'm recording. I think you know why I'm recording. Why are you asking that? Why would you ask someone, is everything okay? I walked outside, you had that guy pointed his eye the moment I walk outside, indicating we're watching you, and then you ask me, am I okay? You should ask yourself if you're okay, why you're stalking people. That's what you should ask yourself. And then you come over and try and intimidate and start like looking at me like I came outside to pick up some food. So you've been given instructions to say, "Are you okay?" You've been given instructions to say, "Are you okay?" to gaslight. You know that. So just go away and leave me alone and stop harassing, okay? Yeah, go away. Go away.
They've got people everywhere, man. They've got people everywhere, and that's why it's important to understand this. When you look at this, you can understand why the protests are completely staged, for the most part, right? Of course, there are real people who go down there because they want to present the illusion of democracy to entrap those people, to entrap the real people who oppose this tyranny, and to do that, they will give you very believable opposition, very knowledgeable people, some of them, on this subject matter. And of course they're knowledgeable on it because they've been trained for these positions for years. They knew they were going to do this for years. And they planned everything methodically, including the protests. Of course, knowing that people are going to oppose this stuff. All of the real people who oppose it are fragmented in different areas, and are, for the most part, not really given much of a voice, because the main megaphone is given to these shill frauds who they prop up on the stage, and they'll vilify them in the mainstream media just so that people will see them, right? People like that fraud, that Chris Sky guy, who makes the rounds on all the fake alternative media like the Rebel and InfoWars. They'll give him the megaphone and present him, and they know that when you see him being demonized in mainstream media, that you will see him as, that some people will be duped into respecting him and thinking he's legitimate, right? So that's what they always do. they know that the opposite side, the opposition, will see the people who the mainstream media demonizes as being honorable, but in reality, if they're even being talked about in the mainstream media, you gotta know they're controlled opposition. Because the mainstream media is not going to give a real person the opportunity to have an opposing viewpoint. Because if they were to do that, that person could bring up some points that they would not be able to counter, some things that they would not anticipate. So therefore, they will give you these people who they will present as being very believable opposition, who seem to really be on your side, but in reality are just funded people. And many of them, I believe, have been prepared for these rules for years. Some of them involved in military operations. Some of them actual intelligence agency people. And others just individuals who have been paid off and work for the government, who in turn, of course, are controlled and are a puppet government, right? So it's the whole hierarchy, the whole pyramid scheme. You should know that by now. But don't be duped. I'm sorry for those who think the protests are real. And you know what? If you think it's a good thing to go down there, by all means do it. I'm not telling you don't go. But I am telling you that they're looking at who's going there. The real people who are going there. And they're taking names, 100%, and they're taking pictures and video footage of those people. That's why they have all their shills down there. That's why the protests are like over 80% shills. So that they can gain info on who the real opposition are. And they will use some of these shows to befriend you, to try and get you to be part of these fake groups that they create, and just be very cautious about that. Because when you've seen this enough times, you know what it is. You recognize it for what it is. You recognize the playbook that they use. And it's funny because one of the last year, the place that I lived at when I moved from that place where I was talking about the job that provided me with the nice apartment, first place I moved to, met a guy there, and he turned out to be obviously a stalker and was doing all the stalking things. But at first, he was very nice, trying to befriend me. And he claimed to be against all the COVID measures, and he said, "Hey man, you should come to the protest with me." And that time I knew, of course, that most of it was fake and staged. So you got one light on here, the left light. See that? Now during the daytime, well, I mean really, like, pretty clear, saw that there. So yeah, he was trying, he's like, "You should come down to the protest." And I'm like, no, I don't think I'm going to go to the protest, but thanks for asking. And yeah, this guy was, and he was regularly doing like same time enter, exit. So you can see how they have people like that who are involved in the organized harassment operations, who they also use to promote the protests, who are going down to the protest, because they have to have these fake people on both sides to dupe the real people who oppose this stuff, right? And that's what this guy was kind of pretending to do. He was trying to draw me in to go to the protest with him and hang out with a bunch of shills, and I wasn't interested in it. So, but again, I politely declined him, and despite his obvious stalking activities, I was polite and cordial with the guy, except for one occasion where I just confronted him. I said, "Dude, what are you doing, man? Like, you're coming in." When he came in at like midnight, the moment I arrived, he pulls up just as I come inside, and I said, "Come on, man, like, why are you doing this, right?" He's like, "What are you talking about?" I'm like, "You know what I'm talking about." And he wouldn't admit to any of it. Kind of tried to gaslight, and I just said, "Buddy, you know what I'm talking about, right?" That's all there is to it. But we're maintain a cordial, decent interactions for the short time that I was there, but the guy upstairs was just a total nutcase and more overt about his stalking and banging on the ceiling all the time. So I left there after like around 3 months, but left on fairly good terms with the other guy, even though he was kind of a stalker. He was a stalker for sure, but I didn't want, you don't want to get into too much conflict with people who live in the same place as you, so I left there, and but he was going to the protest regularly.